Hello and welcome to the hard sell, where the stick in the swill-bucket rattles back. Christmas again, eh? This year it's linked with a general election that could doom or save, or probably doom us all, so it's going to be massive one way or another. An orgy of celebration, or more likely one last nihilistic detonation of hedonism before the apocalypse. Tidings of comfort and joy. Just to cheer you up, here's the first half of our traditional Christmas offering. Well, we've done it twice in a row now, so that makes it traditional. Well, might well have ended before we get a chance to do a third one. So we're meant to be cheering you up, aren't I? Here.
Have a break.
These come from the 1987 one-off Laughs from the Palladium, a clip show of comic highlights from that year's episodes of the series, live from the Derpity-Doo. A sort of accidental, unofficial revival of the old Sunday night at the London Palladium. Accidental because it had started out as live from Her Majesty's. It only moved to the Palladium for the last 3 series, of which this was the penultimate. But the show was ultimately basically the same sort of thing as the classic 50s and 60s format. Song, dance, and old-fashioned gag merchants. Live from wherever was presented throughout by the Tarby, who'd also done the last 2 series of the original and the Palladium show. And in this comedy showcase, we're served up the likes of Russ Abbott, backed with Bella Emberg, Bob Carroll-Cheese, backed with Spit the Dog, Frank Carson, Cannon and Ball, Hale and Pace, Hinge and Bracket, and probably Fish and Cushion. Here we saw the old school of comedy taking some of its last wheezing breaths. The usual transmission was December 6th, 1987, very much getting to the business end of the season as far as advertising is concerned. It's unavoidably Christmas, advent calendars are in full effect, but there's still a couple of weeks left to actually do your shopping in. By Christmas Eve, the festivities in the breaks will, ironically, have largely died down. Adverts on Christmas Day itself were all for sales and indigestion tablets. Full disclosure, I've merged together 2 ad breaks here for artistic reasons. Just call me the Ministry of Truth. But they're from the same programme at the same time in the same region, which for what it's worth was the programme's home ground of LWT.
My true love sent to me, do 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 do, 8 ba 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 7.
We start with the classic animated Heineken advert starring a partridge with Bing Crosby's approximate voice, lazily humming his own personal Christmas song before being unceremoniously blasted out of the sky in surprisingly dramatic fashion.
By golden rays, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Credit where it's due, the animation is amazing. In fact, it ranks among the best seen in British television advertising, including the works of the legendary Richard Williams, who surprisingly didn't make this. Heineken are a big company with deep pockets. Deep enough that they could hire a legend even greater than Williams. Specifically, no less than Chuck friggin' Jones. I'm not making that up. Look at the partridge's face. That's a Chuck Jones face if ever there was one. Admittedly, the credited director is John Miller, who just happens to have got his start on the Richard Williams Christmas Carol. But it's Chuck Jones's design and storyboarding he's working from. It's just a shame about the product, really. This is the middle of the 3 famous Heineken Christmas adverts. It would have been introduced a year before to replace the slightly creakier stop-motion snow globe themed one. It was replaced in its turn in 1989 by a strangely downbeat spot starring a large puppet Rudolph that strategically reused the same soundtrack.
My true love sent to me. And a
All 3 of them ran for at least 4 years each. These were the days when you didn't have to make a new Christmas advert every single year. You could instead make a tradition out of showing the same one. After starting out with some genuine class, let's hit the ground with a thump.
It's the Sun's second record-breaking week of great new Christmas giveaways! The Sun's 12 days of Christmas!
It's a reliably shoddy and stupid and crass advert for the Sun, in the apogee of the Kelvin Mackenzie age. 5 years after Gotcha, but still 2 before The Truth. Their front woman is Lulu, who I sometimes quite like, but this is her Thatcherite phase, as evidenced by the fact that she's here promoting that woman's main proletarian propaganda sheet. And as you can see, they're giving away loads of bollocks over the season.
Spot a paid 3 girl to win £1,000.
Play Spot the Difference to win £5,000.
Including, at one point, Maria Whittaker.
Win a romantic holiday in Portugal.
With me.
That's nice, giving away a woman as a competition prize. Nothing sinister about that at all. You've got to wonder how that little rendezvous went. I hope for Maria's sake it was won by someone vaguely bearable.
Win sensational skiing holidays. They're free.
The 12 days of Christmas in the sun.
Win 50 Christmas hampers. Win a whopping turkey. Win to Undyland. Win racy laces. Win Hamley's toys. Win Raleigh bikes. And win this fantastic festive Ford Fiesta.
Win some dignity.
The 12 days of Christmas in the sun. It's going to be the happiest Christmas in the sun ever.
Paco Rabanne for men. Romantic. Exciting. Original.
Christmas means smells. Easy to give, hard to advertise. Actually, that's not true. Smells are hard to describe audio-visually, but advertisers have long since learned to get around that by simply talking bollocks. This one's a minor offender. Paco Rabanne and a fairly standard, vaguely continental romance setup starring Clark Kent, which you could almost paint by numbers.
Timeless. Unforgettable.
Bedlam bellowing elliptical slogans at you to a heavy industrial backing, accompanied by calculatedly minimalist visuals, though.
Don't expect us to tell you anything more before the 29th of February.
Which is what they were doing 10 years later.
Paco Rabanne. What is remembered is up to you.
Gifts for kids. And hooray! Synthesizer technology has reached a point where the basic concept of an electronic keyboard could be simplified for mass production and pitched at kids aged 8 and up.
The gift of music from Casio.
Casio. For kids who can't afford real guitars. These two seem to be in training for a tween pop spin-off of The Art of Noise, along the lines of Devo 2.0. Godspeed.
The gift of music from Casio.
Introducing the Remington Microscreen Ultimate with the exclusive beard lifter that gets whiskers other shavers leave behind.
Gifts for him. Specifically a Remington razor, breathlessly described as usual by Victor Kayam.
And like all Remington microscreen shavers, the first screen shaves incredibly close, the second even closer.
Advertising this direct and unadorned, basically narrated PowerPoint presentations before their time, were already quite old-fashioned over here, although still slightly more common in America, featuring the classic giveaway bleariness and slightly oversaturated colours of NTSC transfer.
The new Remington Ultimate shaves as close as a blade and closer than any other electric shaver, or your money back. Test prove it.
And then, just as you think crime's about to shut the fuck up...
Don't throw away your favorite clothes because they look worn. Wait. Save them with the Remington Fuzz Away. It safely removes pills and fuzz. The Remington Fuzz Away.
Now that is modern, changing the subject in the middle of your advert and trying to get you to buy something completely different as well. You even employed visual effects for that one.
The Remington Fuzz Away.
Both these men have been Christmas shopping.
Ah, British home stores. This isn't the best advert they ever had, to be honest.
This man bought a warm jumper and a silky negligee set. This colourful stationery, bubble bath and salts, a spice rack, writing set, this Explorer 12, and this rather stylish bear. And unlike his friend, he got everything in one store. So, now he's through, as is his friend.
So there's a smug bellend who bought all his Christmas presents at BHS, and his exhausted friend whose family and friend demographic necessitated the use of more than one shop. The loser. And we're supposed to identify with and be inspired to emulate the smug bellend. The only other option is to be an exhausted henpecked loser. It's not exactly an inspiring binary choice. Make your own general election comment if you must. Of course, 30 years on it's academic, as we can't shop at BHS anymore if we wanted to, which I guess makes us all losers. It's hard not to get wistful at these old department stores and the like, which were an essential part of the Christmas shopping experience once and are now all but obsolete. Soon we'll have to come up with a whole different purpose for the actual physical high street. All those old former retail buildings now standing empty and desolate. Housing, maybe? This year we lost Mothercare, Bon Marché, the legendary Thomas Cook, Oddbins for the second time, very nearly Debenhams. For me, British home stores never recovered from replacing the logo seen here.
Day 92, and everyone is pulling their weight.
Scott of the Antarctic. Up Blythe, Greenland, apparently.
What a happy lot we are. Them with their pale and watery memories of home, me with my very own bottle of rich, mature Ember cream.
I can't watch.
Yes, strike a blow for the lower orders against the tyrannical upper classes hogging all the Ember cream.
Where's Carruthers?
Gone out.
Oh dear, missed the Ember cream.
Yes. Thanks, Reggie, old man.
Oh, it was stout. Sided with the poshers after all. Let's hope that's not prophetic in any way.
Remember the Ember this December.
A bit nippy out there.
It's a sherry, incidentally. Well, I mean, it's not Spanish, but in all other respects, it has everything else in common with sherry. That slogan gives me pause. Did Ember only advertise at Christmas? I mean, it's obviously the best and almost the only time to advertise sherry, but that slogan actively locks them into the last 2 months of the year at the most.
Remember the Ember this December.
A bit nippy out there.
It's another Christmas staple that we would not do without. Terry's chocolate orange, with real oil of orange. Orange oil. Whatever. I think it also contains that special chemical that Pringles use to make it compulsively Moorish, because it's very difficult not to eat the entire thing all at once, even though you know it will make you feel ill. This advert is clearly another example of a full campaign that's been cut down to its basic elements and is now, out of context, wildly baffling.
Terry's famous chocolate orange. Smooth milk or plain chocolate with real oil of orange. How safe is yours?
There's a Wallace cosplayer stealing someone's orange from its hiding place in a Mesoamerican ziggurat and getting sacrificed to Quetzalcoatl for his blasphemy, while Simon Cadell looks on unmoved. Let's see if we can find the whole thing.
Charles is in the living room looking for my chocolate orange, but it's quite safe.
Terry's famous chocolate orange. Smooth milk or plain chocolate with real oil of orange. How safe is yours?
Well, that provided much needed context, didn't it?
How safe is yours?
Hello?
Hello, love. Listen, I think I've got a cold. We'd better forget tonight.
Sorry, I've probably given you bide.
I was about to...
about to take a Beechams.
Me too. Listen, I'll call you.
All right, bye-bye.
Finally, hark the herald angels sing, Beecham's powders are just the thing.
Hi, how are you feeling?
Oh, much better now.
It's flu season. An upwardly mobile couple are almost too ill for their own shoulder pads. But decongestion comes to their rescue with such speed that one rather suspects they were both faking it so they didn't have to see each other again. But Beechams are so good, it backfired on them.
At the first sign of a cold, take Beecham's powders or Beecham's powders capsules and feel better fast.
That's Stephen Hartley, incidentally, a utility character actor of the 80s and 90s, who usually played the ludicrously handsome bastard, or sometimes the ludicrously handsome nice guy, as here. Still acting on the regular, although he's craggier now and resembles Leonard Cohen circa Death of a Ladies' Man. The lady also went on to become a well-known television face, but I can't remember her name, unfortunately. If only she'd been in an episode of Press Gang once.
Hi, how are you feeling?
Oh, much better now.
At the first sign of a cold, take Beecham's powders or Beecham's powders capsules and feel better fast.
Well, our basic concerns for the Christmas season don't seem to have changed an awful lot. Sherry and chocolate oranges are still staples, as are massive crates of lager. Even the gift ideas haven't changed much. Fragrances, razors. Well, you won't see many Casio keyboards being given this year. You could draw a fairly straight line from there to the immersive augmented reality futuristic WowBox peripherals you can buy these days. Whatever they are, I don't know, I'm an old man now. And while British home stores don't exist anymore, and most similar shops are going the same way, you'll still find plenty of commercials for modern day retail outlets, even if they aren't made of bricks anymore. We'll see in our second Christmas episode, which looks at this year's entries into the great festive advertising bun fight. Come back for that in 2 weeks, unless the Tories win a majority and make me illegal, which they probably will. You've been watching a Bob the Fish production. Thanks! If you haven't found it already, be sure to check out our website at bobthefish.org.uk. Literally hundreds of videos not unlike this one that will make you laugh, think and realise new things or your money back. Which works out great because they're all absolutely free. All of this is possible thanks to the not unique way that Bob the Fish productions are paid for by you, the viewing public, via Patreon. For a donation of as little as £1 a month, not only do you ensure that I still have food and shelter so I can carry on making these programmes, but you could become eligible for a whole host of cool extras. New video essays, special event live streams, all my content a week in advance, and my book on the history of the BBC, Rule the Waves, chapter by chapter as it's written, and some cake, if you go out and buy a cake and eat it while you're watching. And if you don't want to support on a monthly basis, you can make a one-off donation via Coffee. It all helps stave off scurvy. bobthefish.org.uk. You make it what it is.